What's up, guys? MainManSWE here, hoping you're all doing awesome as always, and I hope everyone is still as happy as I am with Tekken 8 finally being revealed. It's like Christmas, but the only problem is, oh yeah, Tekken 8 is revealed, but now we've seen this, and everyone's like, ah, my nipples are hard, but now we have to wait. That's the big problem. It's like, woo! You know, it looks amazing, and now the wait begins. But oh well, you know, I'm so happy. I'm sure everyone else is. Did my bitrate just tank? Something's up with my connection, but oh well, I'm recording for YouTube. You guys have a perfect bitrate. Yeah, I couldn't be happier. The game looks incredible. But what I would like to discuss in this little video is actually how remarkable the visuals are. If you've played Tekken like the last, it's quite a few years now, ever since Tekken 6, the game has not pushed any boundaries in terms of the graphics and the presentation. Historically, there was a big leap going from Tekken 3 to Tag 1. Tag 1 was the first Tekken on PlayStation 2, and back in the day, that made everyone go. It was just such a big leap, going from Tekken 3 to the first game on PlayStation 2, Tag 1. Big graphical leap. And then you had Tekken 5 on PlayStation 2, which dropped in... Tekken 5 dropped in 2005. God, there's so many numbers here.
Will you shut up?
No, I will not shut up, dear Lord. You shut up. That was a gigantic leap for the series in terms of visuals. I think actually a lot of people agree that Tekken 5, at the end of the PlayStation 2 era, it still stood as one of the best looking games actually on the PlayStation 2. On the PlayStation 2 system, Tekken 5 was one of the best looking games. So that really pushed the boundaries. But after that, a lot of people don't know this, but Tekken 6 was actually very lackluster in terms of graphics. Launched on the PlayStation 3 without 720p. Without 720p. That game was actually on upscaled, like 570, I think. And the character models had a lot of problems, like the normal maps that were used. That was the first time we had a Tekken game with normal maps. Those of you who don't know what normal maps are, if you play Tekken 5, you know, you have, the characters don't look very detailed, right? Because it's only a polygon model. Whereas I think Doom 3 was the first game with normal maps, and then Gears of War was the first game, in my opinion, that really did it super well. But Tekken 6 was the first one where they tried to mimic a highly detailed model and geometry by using what is known as a normal map. It's a texture, so basically an image that is projected onto the model, and it mimics shadows from the lighting that would occur on a highly detailed model. Sorry, I used to work within 3D. Let's not get too bogged down into that. But you could tell that the Tekken developers weren't very good with that technology, right? They were really good with Tekken 5 when there's no, advanced textures, right? But with Tekken 6, you could tell, like, they're not used to this. And again, not even true 720p. So Tekken 6 was actually quite lackluster in terms of visuals. And then came Tag 2, and that game wasn't very good looking either. But here, they had enhanced some of the characters' models, and especially their faces looked better, but certainly not impressive in terms of textures, lighting, shading. Not very good. And then comes Tekken 7 using the Unreal Engine, and here it's like, does look better due to the engine, but, and you know, some very dynamic effects, like hit sparks, slow motion, rage drive, color filters, post-processing effects were there. But on a whole, when you looked at the character models, they were still very basic. They were actually reusing models from much older games and animations. So it's, you know, Tekken 7 was never a very good-looking game, in my opinion. If you contrast it to the stuff that was already out by the time it came out in 2017. But, so here we have, I mean, quite literally the biggest leap of all time, most likely. I think the biggest leap prior to this was probably like Tekken 4 to Tekken 5. But I think this is the biggest leap they've ever done. And this is probably due to big budget now, is my guess. Tekken 7, due to the failure of Tag 2, most likely on a limited budget. And Tekken 7 is the most successful Tekken game of all time. And probably by a mile if you include all of the DLC. So I think this, what you're looking at is a big budget here. And I know a lot of people have stressed regarding, oh, no PlayStation 4 version. That sucks. That is crap. In my opinion, I guess it's a little bit of a double-edged sword, but I like this, what they're doing. They're like, fuck it. Let's optimize for next gen, PlayStation 5 and PC, and let's just see how far we can go. Just push the visuals as much as we can into AAA territory. Let's not have to worry that our game has to be able to work on a PlayStation 4 as well. Go all out with the visuals, optimize for next generation. And I think that's the right way of going about it. And some people have said, well, you know, we're going to limit their market because not a whole lot of PlayStation 5s have been sold. And my answer to that is, well, one, this game is probably not going to drop for another at least 1.5 years, is my guess. So you'll see a few more PlayStation 5s being sold. But two, and more importantly, how long is the lifespan of a Tekken game these days? It's an entire fucking console generation, pretty much. When this game drops, how long have we been sitting with Tekken 7 when this drops? You're probably looking at 7 years. So, yeah, trust me, there's going to be plenty of time for Sony to push PlayStation 5s and get sold copies of this game. So, in my opinion, I would much rather have a fully next-gen Tekken game. So, I think this is the right way of going about it. And again, just looking at this, biggest graphical increase ever, going from one Tekken game to another. You can barely look at renders these days of Tekken 7. Like, it's just laughable comparing in-game Tekken 7 to this. It's nowhere near comparable. So I just want to stress, like, get ready for a completely new visual take on Tekken. A completely new, like, visual experience. And honestly, it's not only the graphics themselves. It's like, even the animations, everything seems completely redone to me. Fight. Basic animations on all of these attacks seem to be redone. And like, we talked about this a little bit before, but even the blocking, the stagger on block, everything seems mocap now. Everything seems changed. It's here and here as well. You know, this little detail, like Kazuya goes for left split kick, you know, forward 3. Jin actually raises his arms to guard preemptively here. You see? And again, note the stagger effect on Jin. Completely new. Looks very smooth and fluid. They look more like people now when they move. We're not using animations that have been in the game for 1 billion years. Yeah, and the environmental effects, the rain, the ground giving way when they get knocked down, the tornadoes in the background, the lighting. Harada says the lighting strikes will time. You see this in the trailer, but it times with significant hits. Yeah, and again, that's the best he's ever looked, in my opinion. He's never looked better than that. And I don't have to stress the facial animations are absolutely amazing. And just attention to detail. The way Jin, now Jin is being juggled, and you'll note that they've completely redone that as well. Completely new animations when he's being juggled here. And the way he floats with every hit seems completely redone. Everything seems completely redone. The hit stagger you see on a floating opponent these days when you play Tekken 7, I honestly believe that goes as far back as like Tekken 2 or even Tekken 1. They've used the exact same legacy animation forever. So it's very telling that they've now changed it. So that's why I'm just trying to stress, like, get ready for a completely new visual experience with Tekken. Because the graphics, if this is what we have to go by, and again, Harada said that this is rendered at 60 FPS on a PlayStation 5 real time. This is the biggest visual upgrade ever in terms of graphics, but also every single little animation seems to be redone. And again, Kazuya's back four, redone. Kazuya's hell sweep, redone. He doesn't break his back anymore when doing a hell sweep. Everything seems to be redone. It's like no laziness went into this. We could complain with Tekken 7 that, well, you recycled pretty much everything. Just put it in Unreal Engine. There's no such criticism with this. Every little thing has been redone, amped up. So I think that's what I wanted to stress in this video. I'm so excited by this. This was above my expectations. I was expecting the graphics to go next gen, but I certainly did not expect to see a presentation like this. That is just AAA, fully next gen, Unreal Engine 5. They've completely remodeled every character, is going to be my guess, because Kazuya's entire... They've used, ever since Tekken 5, Kazuya's had the same body model and design. They've completely redone that as well. His entire model is new. And again, they've aged him. They've given everyone a more sophisticated look, a more rugged look, much more realism in their faces. And it's even like they've toned down, it's like his hair. I touched upon this when I saw this live for the first time. They've toned down the ducktail. They've toned down the hairline. It's almost like they're trying to make everything just slightly more grounded. It's still a little bit, you know, over the top, but everything's like slightly more grounded. And I also like how they are obviously unbelievably jacked, right? But they look like IFBB Pro bodybuilders. You know, it's like Ronnie Coleman, Chris Bumstead, Arnold Schwarzenegger. They're seriously steroid testosterone heavy, right? But it's still within the world of it could exist, right? It could be realistic. They just look like bodybuilders, like top bodybuilders. Whereas when I look at Street Fighter 6, a game that really looks good these days, right? I don't like Ryu's. Ryu's head is like twice as wide as Kazuya's. It's just they look more like the Hulk in the Avengers, like where it's almost goofy the proportions, and that's something I can't shake with Street Fighter. Where it's like I like this aesthetic more. It's very over the top, you know, but it's still like somewhat more grounded in realism. But so, again, I'm just so happy for all of us. We've been waiting for so long, and it looks like we're going to get a big fucking budget Tekken now. And honestly, they seem to be knocking it out of the park, aiming for the sky with the visuals, new animations even, everything. Just imagine if the same amount of effort goes into like netcode, overall game stability, offline modes, offline content, online modes, servers, anti-cheat, tutorials. Like, imagine if this type of effort that goes into the visuals goes into everything else, and the whole package, you know, reaches that type of quality. It's like, I see that as a Tekken game we could be playing until we hit 99 years old. So, yeah, thank you so much for listening to me again, everyone on YouTube, and I hope you are as excited as I am.